What's up, guys? I'm here with another video. Quick little disclaimer, apologies for not uploading my SummerSlam predictions. I ended up getting sick, so I had to take at least 2 days off, and by then take over, and SummerSlam was that night, so I was pretty well fully recovered by the time SummerSlam came around, but NXT, I was done, so I did the NXT predictions video, and then I couldn't do the SummerSlam, so I apologize for that. But here, today, after watching Raw and SmackDown this week, I came up with a lovely video idea, as you can see in the title below. 5 ways that WWE can basically help their company um, get on their feet, so to speak, um, or what they're currently doing when it comes to the Raw situation, at least, and some things on SmackDown. But I think 5 things that could further enhance the product itself. So number one, I have to go with, and this isn't in a highest to lowest. This is just a list of 5 things. So one being not relying on part timers. Now, for those of you who watched SmackDown, you saw Brie Bella came back, and I'm not a Bella fan, dude. I never was when I first saw them years ago when they debuted, and I never will be now. The Bellas just aren't good in the ring. They're okay, but they're not great, and I don't think that they can really add anything to the women's division what the current women can't do, and then some, when booked right and actually when backstage actually has faith in them, like they want you to believe, like Stephanie wants you to believe that they do. So I do not like this idea of relying on part-timers such as the Bellas, because there's rumor that Nikki Bella is going to be facing Ronda Rousey at Evolution. I already wasn't watching the pay-per-view in protest of how they're repeatedly screwing over Becky Lynch, and but this gives me more reason to not watch it. But then also I might watch it to see how much of a train wreck it's going to be, because I know it's going to be mostly on part-timers and relying on legends. And I say legends because they threw Lita in there, and I mean, Lita was okay, and I never bought into the Trish and Lita thing. They were great, they were awesome, but I always say, and I always will say, that Molly Holly was the actual best one of that era. I will always say that, but she never got the credit she deserved from the company, I should say, because we all know that Molly Holly was great. But just like the Royal Rumble, we know that it's mostly going to be old women from the past. I shouldn't say. Well, I'll say the past, and then the Diva era, which was roughly, because I stopped watching it WrestleMania 25, and I just came back Raw after Mania 2017. So I want to say around WrestleMania 25 was when they started with the really women barely being able to wrestle and hold their own in the ring. I mean, when I stopped watching, AJ Lee wasn't even there yet, so I really missed out on her, so I regret that. But yeah, stop relying on part-timers. It's not good for the women that are there, and I know that they have to post these videos and these Instagrams saying, oh, we're so happy that the Bellas are here, but realistically, most of them probably are not, because we all know that you don't have to say much backstage to get heat, and if you say anything bad about the Bellas, I guarantee you you're out of there. So that's just one of the things. The second thing I would have to say is probably give the women more match time. And by that I mean, if you have Sasha and Bayley out there, we know what they can do. We're aware what they can do. We're aware what Ruby Riott can do. I guarantee you Sarah Logan can do things because she's done some work on the indies. And Liv Morgan's getting better. She's getting better the more she performs. And Ember Moon's very good. We know what she can do with Asuka. We know what she can do with Sasha Banks. Their match was awesome. So just giving the women more time and quality and substance to just them as a gender, I will say, just for the argument, because the men, when they invest in the men, Roman Reigns, it's everything. They get the great video packages. They get the long match length, and they end up getting the title after a while. And I think with the women, if they did that also and actually invested in the women like they claim that they do, but as of lately they're only investing in Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss and Carmella. It was Carmella, and now they're investing in Charlotte and Becky. Becky finally. So hopefully, I'm knocking on wood. I'm knocking on wood with that one, because it's probably just to appease to the us in the comments that are saying give Becky a chance. She's gonna get one title win next week. She's gonna lose it, and then that's that. But I hope that does not happen. I hope that the women actually get treated the way that WWE makes us think that they're being treated, because they're pulling the wool over our eyes time and time again, because that very night they mentioned Evolution, or Stephanie McMahon, the inventor of women and women's wrestling, announced Evolution, and she said, oh, you guys are the reason that you guys started the hashtag Give Divas a Chance, when it was AJ Lee, and you guys are the reason that we don't have 30-second matches. And then you had Sasha and Bayley in a squash match against Jobbers, which was around 30 seconds. And then NXT, that same week, you had Lacey Evans in a match that was 2 minutes long. That wasn't main roster, though. That was Triple H, but still, it's like, it's just, and it's also how Ronda said on camera, I don't want everything handed to me. I want to earn everything. We know that you're not gonna, we know that they're gonna hand everything to you, but because you say it, and then it doesn't happen, it's like, almost like you're contradicting yourself now, because you say that you're gonna do something and then you don't do it, and it's just like, that doesn't make any sense. So, quality, investing in the women, I will say for number 2. Just investing in the women like you claim that you do. Number 3 is the better women's booking. So this kind of piggybacks off of reason number 2. That being, I'm going to go in more into depth of Sasha and Bayley should have happened, and we know what they could do in NXT. They've done it twice. I'm pretty sure it was back-to-back takeovers. I wouldn't know. I didn't watch at that time. I wish I did. And I have the channel. In Canada, we have the channel, not the streaming service. I think that's an option. I think that we can go online and get it, but I have the channel, and for some reason, I can't get those takeovers, and that really disappoints me. But, yeah. If there's something going on with the women, just go all in with them. Go all in with the women's feuds, and don't just do it for a week or 2 weeks and then just forget about it, and then put the belt on Alexa Bliss, John Cena, of the women's division. Actually invest in a storyline with these women and let them perform the way that we know that they can. The fact that Sasha or Bayley didn't have a match at SummerSlam is a damn disgrace. And we're not going to call what Ronda and Alexa Bliss was. That match was terrible, and that's not just because I hate Ronda Rousey. I would have understood if Alexa Bliss got some offense in, did her couple moves here and there. At least it would have felt more of a wrestling match. Ronda Rousey's a judo throw and an armbar. That's all her moveset is, man. At least Brock Lesnar does more in the ring, a little bit, because when Brock Lesnar, I've heard that when he really gets invested in a storyline, he goes all out, and with Roman, he really did. And that outcome of SummerSlam was great. But if they did that with the women, we could have had around 8-9 months of Sasha and Bayley with a hardcore blood feud. And in the video I'm going to have up probably later on in the week, near the end of the week, probably maybe Friday or Saturday. This is going up Wednesday. Of Charlotte and Becky. I really hope that if they go all out with this, it has the potential to be Sasha and Bayley of the main roster, but it's Charlotte and Becky. So it has the potential. See, and that's what I really want. I want them to invest in women's storylines. So Quality women's matches was reason number 2, and then reason number 3 is just quality substance when it comes to storylines. Don't just have the demographic, oh, we're friends. Now we're hugging and all this, and now I'm gonna beat you up for a week, and then all of a sudden we're friends again. Nia Jax, big show of the women's division. She's a heel this week, and then she's a face this week, and then she's still a face, but then she has heel tendencies. Oh, it's really annoying. Number 4 is make the titles mean something again. Make the titles great again. Because right now, or let's just say before SummerSlam. Before SummerSlam, we're not even going to count Alexa Bliss and Rousey. And we're not going to count Carmella either. Because Carmella's not that great in the ring either. She's a little better than Alexa Bliss, but not much. Her matches with Asuka were god-awful. God-awful. And with AJ Styles, it's just like, he is the best champion that WWE has right now, and that's not just because he's the WWE champion. It's because he puts on 4-star minimum matches. Anytime you put him in the ring with almost anybody, he can have a 4-star minimum match. You can't say that about Alexa Bliss. You can't say that about Carmella. You can't say that about the B-Team. You couldn't say that about the Bludgeon Brothers, because the New Day are tag champs now. You couldn't say that about Shinsuke Nakamura as of lately, because he's kind of getting lame too, because they're not booking him correctly, and they're not booking him in the way that he should have been booked, because he should be the WWE champion right now. He should have been the WWE champion last year. He shouldn't have lost to Jinder twice clean. But yeah, AJ Styles is the most credible champion right now. Well, that's false also, because Seth Rollins is now the Intercontinental Champion. I hope that, there's another but, because this week on Raw, Roman Reigns, the night after SummerSlam, he did what he said. He defended his title that next night, and let me tell you what, I don't like Roman Reigns because of the push. I don't hate him. I hate the direction that he's in. So I hate that basically when everything else fails, just put it on Roman. Because when Bobby Lashley beat him at Extreme Rules, I was like, oh my god, we're going to get Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. And then they just had 2 triple threats. Reigns won 1, Lashley won 1. They clashed. Reigns beat Lashley the next night. And then we're finally going to get the SummerSlam match. But yeah, Roman Reigns defended his title against Finn Balor. And let me tell you what, that match was awesome. That match was awesome. Because they allowed Finn Balor to go out and do his thing. They gave the match about 20-25 minutes, counting the ending. I want to say that as well, because it did go over time. But that's all you have to do. And that goes into the women as well. Do that with the women. Copy and paste. Not the exact way, but have if Charlotte's the champion now, and she's going to invoke a rematch clause against Carmella next week. Perfect. Not a pay-per-view. Have the women's championship defended. Great. If Becky wins it, have Becky defended at least once a month. Maybe twice a month, I would say. Twice a month seems good. If there's a pay-per-view, once on SmackDown, once on the pay-per-view. Excellent. But if there's a big spell where there's a pay-per-view and then there's about 5-6 weeks until a next pay-per-view, have her defend it 2-3 times. Doesn't have to be crazy matches, but again, if you want to push this Evolution pay-per-view, you want to show us that women are the greatest, women are just as good as men, let the women do 20 minutes. If it's a title match, let the women just go out and do their thing, because we know that a lot of them can do it. So that's what I think that should happen. I hope that Roman and Seth and Roman, I hope that they both kind of do an open challenge, if you want to say that. I hope that Seth Rollins comes out and he's like, you know what? I want to be like Roman. I want to be a fighting champion as well. That would be awesome. You'd have 2 championships being defended weekly. How awesome would that be? And considering that one of them is Seth Rollins, who, again, you could put him with AJ Styles, can have 4-star matches almost any time he's given. Because there was a time, I believe it was before Mania, when Miz and Seth were having the best matches every week. If you saw Seth or Miz, you knew that they were going to have match of the week. And that showed. Backlash, they had the only good match on the card. WrestleMania, in my opinion, they had the best match on the card because Seth and Miz just have this chemistry about them, and it's just awesome. But as long as you make at least one championship defended once a week on the show, weekly, I think that would be great because some of the titles don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. I like Nakamura, I really do. But that United States Championship means sweet FA, realistically. I'm not interested in the US Championship. And now that Seth has the Intercontinental, I'm interested in that now. So, make the championships a little more relevant than what they're perceived to be. And I would have to say, I'm trying to think of the number one reason. I'm trying to think. I had 5 reasons of why. I think I just went a little more in depth than I thought I was going to with what I was going to originally say. But I think that that's the last reason. So the 5th reason that I had was more blood feuds. I think that if you gave the storylines both men and women, if you gave the storylines more meat to them, people would want to see the pay-per-view more because no one gave a sweet goddamn about Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. No one cared. Nobody cared about that feud. No one was starting to care of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. No one gave a sweet shit about that match after WrestleMania. No one cared. Honestly, because we're like, okay, Roman's finally going to win the championship, and Brock pinned him. And then 3 weeks later at Greatest Royal Rumble, he beat him again. So, it's just like, and that feud seemed to have some blood to it, but you see storylines that were from the early 2000s, like, the one that always stands out to me when it comes to a good storyline was Undertaker and DDP. I remember being a kid and seeing that and seeing how personal, like when I think about it now, what I was seeing back then, of how personal DDP was getting with Undertaker's wife. Oh my god, imagine a storyline like that now. And just like years ago when John Cena and Randy Orton, when Randy Orton punted John Cena's father, that was crazy because it got super personal. And I'm not saying that Becky should do that to Rick or anything, especially with what Rick has went through, but that they definitely wouldn't allow that. But I think that what I wanted for the Charlotte and Becky feud was if Charlotte was to turn, or if any of the women do a heel turn, it has to be extremely violent. Really, again, it goes back to booking the women better. Show the fans that the women are equal. Show us that the women can be as violent. Just don't let the beatdown stop. Like, that beatdown at SummerSlam was kind of weak, but have it go overboard. Like, she does a lot of damage, and then, you know what, I'm not done. Like, Ciampa Gargano levels of violent in just a heel turn. Because when he turned on Gargano at TakeOver, everyone was like, what? Everyone was losing their mind. But the violence came later. I wanted, like, if Charlotte really goes off, she needs to beat the living hell out of Becky, and I think there should be blood. I think that Becky should be like, you know what? I'm going to blade a little bit and cut her head, and people will be like, whoa, that is crazy. I think that would add so much steam to the feud. It would be amazing to see that. That is my dream for that. I hope that if Charlotte is the one that is the heel, because Becky tried to be heel, didn't work. I really hope that it's Charlotte that eventually tries to turn heel, and then she just goes crazy and just jumps Becky backstage and just doesn't let up, throws her through a bunch of cases backstage and all these different things of equipment and just doesn't let up week and week and week and week. Charlotte just doesn't let up on Becky and just beats the living hell out of her to a point where they have to say, you know what? Don't have her as an underdog on the mic. Have her as an underdog in action. So Becky just looks weak because she's always getting beaten and Charlotte's always jumping her. And Becky just has no backup. And that would be great. That would be great, great, great for a blood feud because we saw what a blood feud can do with Miz and Daniel Bryan. That blood feud is crazy. So the feuds have to be more violent, in my opinion, to a point where it can evolve. It evolves the character, and we can see the change in the character because Sasha just kind of was transitioning from a nice person to just like a regular bitch, and Alexa Bliss does the same bitchy character. So there's nothing really different about that. You're just basically Alexa Bliss. You're just being a bitch. But then when Bayley just jumped her, we're just like, whoa, Bayley's gonna turn heel. And then nope. They didn't. They had the match, and the gas was spread. Didn't throw the match. They just blew the match out and just, we'll let the gas just stay there. We're not gonna do anything with that. So, better blood feuds. Better feuds or blood feuds. So, feuds just need to have more juice to them, more meat on the bone. And I think those would be 5 surefire ways to improve the company. It would definitely have me watching every week. I watch it every week anyway, just so I can get videos out to you guys and the page on Facebook, which link below to that. I keep all the current news with that. But if they just did that, showed more effort, put more effort into your talent, ratings would definitely improve. So that was just a long video, around 20 minutes, let me say, 22 minutes, so pretty long video, but you guys don't have to watch, you could just put me on the background and listen. But that was my video on 5 ways to WWE could improve their product. Hit the like button if you guys like this video, hit the subscribe if you liked it also, because you guys already know we like to keep it all the way G. Peace.